Hello, my name is Josh. I'm the founder of Catinify, and today I want to talk to you about the gap between who you are and who you want to be. I have a big philosophy on this, and the idea is a lot of times we tend to prop ourselves up or share that we're further along in our journey than we really are. What this usually ends up doing is creating this gap between who we want to be and where we are, and because we're not actually sharing the truth about where we are, we kind of put ourselves here. And this gap right here is what causes all the frustrations in our lives. It's literally everything. Because think of it this way: in basketball, if you were to go to somebody and say, "Hey, I want you to play shooting with your left," and the kid doesn't even know how to shoot with his left, that's going to cause a lot of problems. But if he's like, "Oh yeah, I can shoot left, I can shoot left," and then they start running all of these plays where he goes left, and 50% of the time he misses the shot, the coach is going to get upset, and everybody's going to be like, what's going on? And the reality is he doesn't know how to shoot left. He's just kind of practicing in the games. Where the reality is that he should say, "Hey, I don't know how to shoot left." And then you go back to the fundamentals and run drills during practice to learn how to shoot with his left hand. And that way, when it comes to playing in the game, he's actually able to make a higher percentage of those shots. So that's what I talk about with the gap and this reality that you need to share where you are. A lot of times when working with friends or family and them trying to share, "Hey, like, how do I get here?" It's like, well, where are you at right now? And you have to be 100% real with that, even if you're a lot worse off than you think you are. It's like working out or trying to lose weight. And people are just like, "Oh, like I work out once a day, or I drink this amount of water, or I only eat organic food." And the reality is they're not doing that, but they're trying to make it seem like they're not as bad off as they really are. But because they're not willing to be transparent with the reality of where things are at, there's going to be that gap between, "All right, well, you're already doing these things, so I'm just going to teach you how to do this," versus how to self control and get away from the junk food. Or in my case, like, I'm a big sweets guy. So I don't buy sweets. If you ever come to my home, there'll be nothing, there'll be no junk food, because if it's there, I will eat it. But if I were to be like, "Oh yeah, I only eat healthy food, or I only drink water," and then the reality is you come to my home and there's Coke and Pepsi and Mountain Dews and bags of chips all over the place, cookies, then it's like, all right, like, that's the gap. That's the real issue, but you're not being real about where you're currently at. So again, like, when I, even with business, that a lot of times companies will come in and like, "Oh yeah, we're doing this. We're already seeing all of this success." And it's like, all right, well, then why am I here? The reality is there's probably something that's a little bit off. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking. So it's like, hey, let's really share what's going on with your data, what's going on with your processes, what strategies are you running now, where have you already seen success, where are you seeing drop off, and just being absolutely 100% transparent and realistic with what is going on in your organization right now. Because the reality is like the moment that we get into your CRM and jump into HubSpot, we're gonna get a pretty accurate picture of what is and what isn't working, what you've done in the past, because the historic footprint's there, like all that context is there. So it's like, let's be real about where things are at, and then set realistic expectations of where we want to go. And then we can reverse engineer, okay, this is where we want to go, this is where we're at, this is like where we're really at, and let's break down what we need to do to systematically get from here to here, be able to measure all the performance in between, to understand what's working, what's not working, what's caused, like going back to the 80-20 principle, what's causing us to just make a lot of noise versus what's actually getting us traction and allowing us to get to our goals a lot faster. So that's what I mean by being realistic, and not creating this false gap or creating a false narrative where you try to hype yourself up and, "Oh yeah, everything's horseshoes and rainbows and unicorns," when the reality is, hey, no, it's not going well right now, but that means that there's only up from here. But yeah, that's how I explain the gap, and I hope that sheds some light on a little bit of the philosophy here at Continuify.